Freeze your doors at a local Walmart or whatever store that you go to, and picture blood right across the top of the doors. The blood is from battle, the blood is from fighting, blood is from suffering, and the blood is related to the planet Mars and astrology, of which in this video I'm going to be going deeper into. And then after I'm done, I'm going to pull a card from the Gateway Oracle cards by Denise Lynn. Um, so that we get a better sense of spiritually what does the planet Mars represent. So I'm going to literally turn my cards around because I realize that this is backwards. Here we go. Okay. So delving into Mars, what does it represent? Now, just a little note before I get into the information. This is the introduction video to a series of 12 videos, or 13 videos if you count this one, of Mars through all the 12 signs, Aries through Pisces. I'm going to be starting out with in this video talking about the characteristics and qualities of Mars, and then the following videos, besides the weekly astrology videos, I will talk about Mars through each of the 12 signs. So delving into what Mars is represent. Mars is in mythology, in that kind of riddle in the thing, it is the god of war. It is the god of fighting, of battle, of conflict. Mars is the separating principle, whereas Venus, we just talked about Venus. I did a whole series of videos on Venus to the signs about attracting and harmonizing. Mars is about separating. That's very, very important to note. Mars is Aries, A-R-E-S, the ruler of Aries, A-R-I-E-S. Um, Mars is at home in Aries. It's a sign that it rules. Um, it is considered exalted in Capricorn. It is at fall in the sign of Libra and Taurus. Mars also rules Scorpio and is at fall in the sign of Cancer. Because that's just a little tidbit of information to note about Mars. So Aries is the god of war. Mars represents this. And so Aries is the more masculine expression of Mars. Scorpio is the more feminine expression of Mars. Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is the higher octave of Mars. Pluto is about power and empowerment and taking action to transform things. Mars is action and, so you can see the similarities between these two energies. And I would argue that Aries and Scorpio are incredibly compatible generally. It have to depend upon the chart of the two individuals involved, but generally, cookbook astrology, like, I really would consider these signs extremely compatible with one another. Even though it's fire and water, they can bond really well with each other because of that intensity, that need for passion they both share. Mars is the planet which represents energy. It is your energy. It is your boost to wake up in the morning and go about your day and take action and really, make your day the best, most fulfilling possible. It's about having energy to go after the things that you want, that you desire, that you need. Mars is the planet of action. It is also the planet of your desires. It rules your desires. I would add in that it rules your primal desires, your real, raw, authentic desires as a soul being living a human experience. Mars is considered to be the gas in your fuel tank because when you are driving a car, you need the right tools to be able to do the job. And the gas, when you put gas in your car, it can run. Just like we can't run on fumes, we need to energize ourselves. We need enough energy to be able to move and take action and carry out what we need to carry out in the world. So that is a really, really huge piece of Mars. Mars is also the planet of asserting yourself, being standing up for yourself, speaking up, really speaking truth, and making your point known and asserting what you need to do and what you want to do. Mars can also be a planet that represents aggression and war, as I was talking about before. Mars is the survival instinct planet. So it represents your survival, your instincts to want to survive and really put the pictures out for the wayfarers, I would just want to say to, carry out their prawns. Um, so Mars represents animal instincts for aggression, anger, and survival. So it rules your animal instincts. It rules your aggressive qualities. It rules what sign Mars is in, shows what really makes you angry. And the house place of Mars shows where and what area of life makes you angry, and where you express that anger, where you express that Mars energy. And Mars can also represent survival, survival of the fittest, the need to survive. So it represents sexuality as well. It's one of the love planets along with Venus. Venus and Mars is the classic divine feminine, divine masculine. Um, and so, um, sexual desires is really what Mars can also represent. Represents body attraction, being, who you're attracted to. Venus in a man's chart shows the kind of woman that he would be attracted to. Mars in a woman's chart shows what kind of man she is attracted to. Mars is about action as opposed to reaction. Mars represents impulsivity. Mars is a very impulsive planet, impulsive energy, because it rules Aries. Aries is extremely impulsive. Um, goes off of whims and just the raw desire then and there without thinking and processing it. It just jumps into things without thinking. That's being impulsive. And so self-assertion can be a considerable point here. Um, this self-assertion is very omnivalent to the prawners and the goners. The self-assertion is a part of it. Your real and raw energy, your raw desires, your raw wants, all those kind of things like that. Um, Mars is drive and desires and our active energy. Mars energy, if we're utilizing this planet, we're restorative. We're very likely being honest with whom it is in our life that what we need, want, desire, and honest, straight, and direct about what we desire. Also, being very adventurous. Mars energy is very impulsive. It can be very impulsive. It can be rash. We're very impatient when it comes to Mars energy. Because Mars wants instant gratification. Mars wants it now or as soon as possible. It's not willing to wait for things to happen the way they need to happen and waiting for results to come in. It's very impatient, like I want it now. That's Mars energy. Aggressive, and we can really force our values or our needs, wants, and desires onto others. That's also how we force those things on others. Mars is our basic sexual nature, how we express our anger, What area of life that we express it and how we express it is represented by the Mars sign and house placement in our charts. And what makes us angry, but more importantly, what motivates us? What gets us out of bed in the morning? What drives us to act, to take action? Mars energy is very competitive. What area of life we apply our drive and expression or enthusiasm is what Mars represents. So, how we show enthusiasm, how we express enthusiasm is a huge part of it. So, any planets that make aspects to Mars are all about action and self-assertion. Mars is the red planet. You can see it in the sky very clearly because it's red. Represents animal passion. It can also be outward activity, getting out of the world and making stuff happen. It can represent sexual drive, aggression, and anger. It's high in masculine action. Mars is short-tempered. Mars has a short fuse, but it has a lot of courage within it. Anger and combat are represented by Mars. Now, Mars stays in a sign for about roughly 7 weeks or so. It retrogrades every other year for about 10 weeks around that period, either straddling one or multiple signs. If Mars is retrograde in June, it's probably retrograde in Scorpio or Sagittarius. If Mars is retrograde in September, it is likely Pisces or Aries. So that's something to note if you track the retrograde cycles, but that's a whole nother conversation. Mars represents a a fighting spirit and a desire to dominate. That is really, really huge. So wanting to be in control. Mars wants to be in the driver's seat. Mars wants to be in control. Your survival instincts for fighting is represented by Mars. How you express your yang energy. Mars is also, as I said, great impulsive. It can also be a great motivator, motivating, leading, convincing people, being a thought leader, persuading others into something. If you want to get projects off the ground, if you want to get things started, you can lean into Mars energy to help you do that. How you take initiative with others is really a huge part of Mars energy. Mars is passionate and energetic. It is about leading your life, jumping into your life, and taking charge of your life, taking the lead of your life. Mars represents fighting, war, and battle. It's how you initiate things. It's how you start things. Mars is very initiative, initiator, whatever the term is. Mars is very competitive, as I said before. It represents what we do and how we do it. Mars is again action, aggression, and drive. And the house that Mars rules over is the first house, which represents you, your authentic, unique expression, and the traits and personality that make up who you are. Mars is very independent. It wants to be sovereign. It wants to be independent when it comes to creating things that are in alignment with your true self. Mars is about taking action, getting things off the ground, and starting new things. Now, as promised, I'm going to be pulling a card from this deck to see what we need to know about the planet Mars in astrology on the spiritual level. And I'm expecting to get the card standing firm, but let's see what the cards have to say. What does the planet Mars represent in astrology? Or maybe I should phrase it as a better question, actually, before you do that. Okay. What do we need to know about the planet? Okay. What does the collective need to know about the planet Mars in astrology? Or thinking others. What does the collective need to know about Mars in astrology? Interesting. The card is looking deeper. Deep within me is a majestic radiant. So this can be as it can be really, looking into who we are because Mars represents who we are as an individual. And so we could be looking deeper when it comes to doing these kind of things very, very easily. Um, and so really delving deep in its essence is the nature of Mars. It's about not being surface level, not just looking at the content of it on the surface, but looking at it more through a deeper lens, really going down into it and finding the gems that lurk beneath that sand, in those caves, in those caverns. So this card is really asking us with Mars energy to really look into our true feelings and motivations. So we're so full of treasure, we're so full of gems, and if we only could go below the surface and really connect to ourselves on a soul level and see our unique essence of who we are, because Mars represents the individual. Um, and that is so looking deeper is the card. I hope that you enjoyed and found some value from this video. Um, this was a shorter video this time. It is the introduction to the series of videos on Mars, the signs. I look forward to starting the series with you with Mars and Aries coming up very, very soon. So stay tuned for that video, and all the videos that I continue to upload for you. So you can utilize the features such as the subscribe button and the like button so that you see more of these videos and then it gets it out into the YouTube algorithm more. Um, thanks for watching. Bye for now.